and welcome back to part 2 of my pre-Inktober pen fine liner brush pen review. Last time we did fine liners. Today we are doing brush pens. I am going to take some notes while I'm working on this and turn it into a blog post as well. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check out my website and let's get into it. The Micron brush pen. This is Sakura Pigma Micron brush, and just like last year I will be showing you the difference between the legitimate one and the fake, the knockoff. Last year I said that one of the ways to figure out if your Micron was fake, because if you get them on the cheaper websites they tend to be, one of the ways to figure them out was that the logo writing would be bolder and perhaps a little more spaced out on the fake barrel, and then the writing underneath the AP sign would be different. Well, the fakers have caught up with us. That is no longer true on the newest batches of fakes out there, and apparently this writing under the AP can be different on legitimate ones as well, so I was wrong on that point, but that's okay. I believe this is my legitimate one up here, yes. And this is my oh yeah, that's definitely my fake one down there. Look at how wonky and messed up that brush tip is. So even though they may look identical now, if you were to get fake ones today, legitimate Pigma Micron pens will be waterproof. Legitimate versus fake. I don't know how well that's going to show, but the fake is a little more of a blue, very, very dark blue than a true black. And just to show, I've got a water brush pen here. Real one. Holding up pretty good. Fake one. Not at all waterproof. This is, if you are doubting a Micron you already have, this is how you tell. Copic Multiliners brush pen. This is the medium brush in black. It is the only Copic brush I have so far. I do like how this is a bit firmer. It's easier to control the line quality with this. Okay, if you scrub, not quite waterproof. Kingart Inkline brush pen. I got this one in the July 2019 premium sketch box. And so far I really like it. It's a nice thin brush point. Perhaps not the darkest black on the page though. The faber-castell Pitt artist pen in the brush nib. This is not small brush or anything, this is just brush, marked B. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Pitt pens, which is surprising because in general I love faber-castell. I don't like their Pitt pens. Sue me. I keep this in my travel pen wrap and I use it when I'm doing mandalas in my travel sketchbook and I want to color in a large area very quickly. Already knew this was going to happen. This is why I don't like them at all. They are not waterproof. Okay, well, it's one of the reasons. If you want to know the other reasons, go check part 1 where I did the fine liners. Marabu Graphix fine liner in the brush nib. This is also quite a nice skinny boy. It's a very soft nib. What a nice deep black ink that is though. Stop pigment liner. It looks very, very similar to that Marabu nib, doesn't it? It feels softer than the Marabu nib, and as you can see, the quality of the ink is not quite as good. It's starting to show some white spots. Edding 1340 brush pen, and I got it on... I knew I got Edding from Scrawler Box. This came in their July 2018 box when they had us do bullet journaling. Here's that nib. It looks pretty similar to the Copic, not quite as wide. I imagine this is what the small nib and Copic brush looks like. Not at all. This is what I keep referring to as the Wish pen. It does not have a brand name on it anywhere, just this beautiful gold bamboo. And then Chinese lettering. This is the brush, and it is a dual end pen. It has a plastic nib over here. I didn't have enough room on my sheet in part 1 to include this in the fine liners, so we're catching it here in the brush. It's the same ink. I love how broad of a section you can cover in this, and it's quite a firm nib. It's very nice. Unsurprising, it is not waterproof. The Tombow ABT water-based dual-ended brush pen that was included in, again, the Jazzy Art box. This is the brush end. This is a little bullet marker nib end. This may be basically what this was trying to imitate, a Tombow pen. It's firmer than the Wish pen, actually. Not waterproof. Looking good. So far, everything's good with alcohol ink. The other Sakura brush pen, this is the Pigma BB. This is supposed to be their professional line. This is what supposedly manga artists prefer. There's that nib. It's very similar in shape to that Copic nib. Comes out quite a long way before it tapers. Softer than it looks. I like the prongs on the cap. It won't roll away. We are getting some bleed, not a huge amount. Artline Stix. I definitely got this in an Inktober themed box. Yes, that was the September 2018 Scrawler box, so the one that they intended for us to get just before Inktober started. There it is, Artline Stix brush marker. Now this is barely a brush, it's really just a pointy marker nib. The ink is very blue toned, very cool color. There we go, you can build stuff with them. I don't use this one a lot. Bleeds out like crazy. Alcohol ink. Little bit of smudging on that. This is why I don't use it. Another Marabu pen. This is the Aqua Graphix pen. So this, they claim it's watercolor in a felt tip marker. This is watercolor in a felt tip marker. This is a felt tip marker with ink that happens to be water soluble. So this is the brush nib. The other end is a little bullet. It is a fairly firm nib. You do get a lot of good control. The reason I don't like them is because they aren't watercolor enough for my taste to use them as such, but then just as a regular marker, they're a little too water. They eat up the page like crazy. Even on this very smooth, very heavy cardstock, if I scrubbed, it would pill up. It's a watercolor marker. We expect it to be water soluble, but it's not as water soluble as I want a watercolor marker to be. Let's demonstrate that. This is what the Graphix Aqua pen does with water. This is what a Winsor Newton watercolor marker does. So here we've got Marabu, which claims to be a watercolor marker. You can still see that original brush stroke entirely, and it's not really fading out at all, it's just bleeding and spreading. This is a watercolor marker. In some spots you can't even see that original line, but this is fading out quite nicely, diluted gradient like you would expect from watercolor. Pentel color brush pen. This also came in the Inktober Preparing September box last year from the Scrawler box. It is basically a water brush pen, but it's filled with black ink. Very wet, so I'm definitely going to give that a minute to dry. In fact, let's skip ahead, swatch the next thing, and then come back because the next thing is also quite wet. The next thing is the Pentel Sign Brush Artist Pen. I only have pink because I only have one pen. I got this in a Art Snacks box. This was the June box this year, June 2019. Very, very tiny, tiny nib. Similar to the Kingart, but I would say tinier. I really like that. Alright, these have sat for a minute. Water test on the Pentel color brush pen. Not waterproof. Isn't supposed to be. Water test on the Sign brush pen. Also not waterproof. It doesn't completely dissolve away, not even close, but that's okay. You get really interesting techniques using it. And, like, unlike... Where'd the Marabu go? Unlike this, I'm not mad at this because this doesn't claim to be a watercolor. It's just a water-based ink pen that doesn't claim to be waterproof. Alcohol ink on both. Ooh, we got some bleeding on that one. How's it doing on the pink? Really good with that one. Okay. Zebra's Mildliner brush pens. Now, I have to admit, for the longest time, I was only seeing the knockoffs, and I thought it was Mildliner. I got this in Art Snacks September, and I like them. So these, it is dual-ended. There is a little nib marker on the other end. I believe you can get them with a fine liner nib instead. This is the brush version, and they are meant to be highlighters, so I'm actually interested to do this test. And while that's drying, just for funsies, this is a dual art marker. You can get these branded, a million different brand names. They are very similar to what Ohuhu sells. I've seen them branded as Touch 10 and all those things as well. It's a brush nib on one end and a fine liner on the other end. And I hate them. Also, I don't know if you could tell, but that end is very fuzzy. And not like destroyed nib fuzzy, like something is happening to the ink. Mildliner. You get a little bit of bleeding, just because it's not supposed to be waterproof. It is a highlighter. Dual art. That didn't even try to stay in place. Zebra highlighter under alcohol marker. It looks like the alcohol ink is eating it away, but it's not spreading. Let's review. Micron brush. Personally, I give it an 8 out of 10. I find it a little bit hard to control. As you can see, those little quick lines I made are very, very broken up. They are waterproof. They are alcohol ink proof. Copic, much easier to control, not waterproof, is alcohol proof. Bit on the thicker side, but I do like them better. I'm gonna give that a 9. And no and yes. Kingart Inkline brush. Tiny. The ink quality is duller. This seems like a dark gray. It is waterproof, which surprised me, and it's good under alcohol ink. But because it's duller, because it's very floppy, I cannot rate it as high as the Micron. I'm going to rate it as 7. we're gonna call 7 as good as it gets without being the top. Faber-Castell Pitt, I've already complained about this. I do not like Pitt pens. I do find them floppy. I think their nib, the brush nib, is longer than it needs to be. It's not waterproof at all. I like Kingart better, even though the Pitt is a better quality ink. So I'm rating that a 6. Marabu Graphix. Surprisingly good. It kind of looks like the Copic on the page. It's not quite there. I'm going to rate this on par with Micron. And kind of failed the water test, but it's good with alcohol. Pigment STA, duller ink, but otherwise basically the same thing. Yeah, I'm rating it a 7. I'm putting it on par with the Kingart. Edding 1340, not waterproof, isn't supposed to be, is alcohol proof. That surprised me. Very easy to control. The tip is very similar to the Pigma BB, but firmer. So, I like that one. The Wish pen. This is probably the best super cheap brush pen I have ever tried out. That being said, I don't reach for it often, and just because of that, I'm calling it a 7. Tombow ABT. I haven't had a lot of time to play with this. It's fairly new. I got it in the Jazzy Art box. Not waterproof, is alcohol proof. Where'd that thing go? Massive, massive brush tip, similar to that Wish pen. I do think I'll end up getting more use out of it than the Wish pen, but is it as good as a Micron? Yeah, it is. Pigma BB. This is harder to control than some, but I would say it's definitely better than the plain Micron brush, and it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the professional grade, so that's good. It's not waterproof, isn't supposed to be, is alcohol proof. Do I rate it on par, or do I say it's the best? I rate it on par because it's not waterproof. If it were waterproof, it would be a step better than the Micron. Artline Stix. This did not survive either of those tests. It's not black even though it says it is. Yeah. I give it a 4 out of 10. It's a marker. Marabu Aqua Graphix. They're a very nice pen to write with if you want a pen, if you want a marker. I don't like them. They're not waterproof, they're not supposed to be. They are supposed to be watercolor. I've already showed you why they aren't watercolor either. I'm going to rate them on par with Faber-Castell. Pentel Color Brush. Not waterproof, but that's what it's supposed to. Not alcohol proof, didn't say it was. For what it is, for being basically a water brush pen with ink in it, it is excellent. I do really like it. I'm going to call it a 7. Pentel Sign Brush. Surprisingly did okay with that. Similar nib to that Kingart. Love the color. I imagine the black would be good because this Pentel brush pen is good. Honestly, I love it for what it is. I'm calling it a 9. Zebra Midline Brush. I would not use it with either of these, but for what it is, it's very good. I call it a 7. Dual Art Marker and all of the other cheap, crappy private labeling, they suck. They really suck. I'm putting them on a 4 down there with Art Stix. So, best? Micron, Copic, Pigma BB, Edding, Tombow, Pentel Sign. These are the ones you really want to get. Worst, Artline, Stix, Art. Yeah, stay away from those. So So there we go, there's my analysis. This is part 2. As I said, I just did fine liners as well. Both of them will be blogs, go check them out on my website, and if you missed part 1, I will definitely have that link to go check that out as well. Thanks so much for watching, see you soon.